Hey everyone, welcome back to Wonderland Wednesday. As you can tell, I'm doing this off camera today. I've been sick all week and I really didn't feel like filming myself. Today is also going to be a little bit different. I'm not doing an in-depth review since I've been sick. I thought I'd keep it short. And I'm also not going to be covering a straight adaptation of Alice in Wonderland this time. Today I'm going to be talking about a movie called Phoebe in Wonderland, which, as you might guess from the title, is really only tangentially related to Alice in Wonderland. So the other day on Twitter, my friend Rachel Wagner was talking about this movie, and of course, with the title, I got curious, and I think I've heard about it before, but I really knew nothing about it. So I didn't have a movie picked out for today, and I was not feeling very well, and I thought this might give me an excuse to watch it, and then maybe make a quick video about it. Now I will say, after watching this, for most of the movie, I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. This is definitely not the kind of movie I normally watch. Normally, I stick to watching happier movies. And if it's not happy, it's something like science fiction or really exciting. And this is just a straight up family drama. And that's really not my jam. That's not to say this is a bad movie. It definitely was not a bad movie. It was very good, very well acted. All the kids in this movie were amazing. Elle Fanning was amazing as Phoebe, but not just her, the little girl who played her sister, Bailey Madison, she was also brilliant. And the kids in her class, the awful children in her class, they were all great at being awful children. The only time that they weren't acting great was when they were auditioning for the play. And in that case, they were acting great because they were playing bad acting very well. So this is in no way a bad movie. It's just not a movie for me. The movie is about Phoebe, who seems to be suffering from pretty severe OCD. And not the kind of OCD that people think they have when they just like to be clean. This is like the kind of OCD where you have to wash your hands so many times that you rub them raw. So it's not a light movie. It's basically about her dealing with this and dealing with behavioral problems that are causing her to act in ways that she doesn't understand and doesn't want to be doing, but just can't help herself. And then having to deal with the fallout in her family, with her teachers. Yeah, it's not a fun movie. And while I appreciate it for the artistry, I can't say that I really enjoyed it until, like, the end. Like, the last maybe 7 minutes, then it became a lot more feel-good because things were starting to get sorted out. The play was put on. I really liked the kids' musical number. But yeah, I don't know if I can say that 7 minutes of happiness at the end was enough to justify the hour and a half that came before. I don't know. It was good, but just not the kind of good that I usually watch. Since this is Wonderland Wednesday, I should probably touch on the elements of Wonderland that were in the film. Phoebe was cast as the lead in an Alice in Wonderland play at her school, and that's where most of the Wonderland theme stuff came from. I really liked what they did with the play. I really liked all the kids' costumes, all the sets, and then, of course, their song at the end. Yeah, the play aspect of the Alice in Wonderland elements was great. The other big Wonderland element in the movie was Phoebe's imagination, because she frequently imagined herself in scenes from Wonderland, or she imagined characters from Wonderland as people in her real life, or maybe vice versa, because, like, her psychologist was Humpty Dumpty and her mother was the Red Queen. Different teachers were different people in the stories. Yeah, so it was kind of bled into the story here and there, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't there all the time. I think I probably would have liked it a lot more if it was, like, really heavily fantasy inspired instead of just sprinkled here and there in the story. Anyway, for the most part, like I said, this is a really good movie. It just wasn't a movie for me. I would recommend this to people who really like family dramas or just dramatic movies in general. People who have very different tastes from me. If you don't like fantasy, you don't like science fiction, you want things that are real, things that deal with real world problems, people dealing with real mental illnesses. If that sounds like a movie that you'd be interested in, definitely check out this movie, because in that regard, it was really good. But if you want a feel-good movie that just leaves you with an all-over positive feeling at the end, I think I'd probably recommend you finding something else, because, like I said, it does have a happy ending, but there's a lot of unhappiness that you have to wade through to get there. Anyway, you can take my thoughts and make your own judgment call on whether you think this is a movie you would like. This is going to be a movie that some people are going to love, and it's going to be a movie that other people are really not going to care for at all. Okay, that's going to be all for this episode. Next week I'll be back with Sarah, and this will be the first review we actually filmed this year. The last ones we've done were kind of leftovers from last year. This time we're going to be getting into the ones that we've actually been filming for this season. And the first one we're going to be talking about is an Italian version called Nel Mondo di Alice. This was a mini-series, I believe it aired in the 70s, and it is very different. It's really interesting. I'm excited to talk about it again. So we'll see you next week for that. Bye.